remember telling you when we had gotten hi Mark
Hey.
when we got back from
No, so we not obvious at all.
Nope.
Mark didn't see you one bit.
He's trying so hard to like get his work done and be invisible.
Don't.
Sorry,
don't be
you're too
invisible,
tall
Mark.
to be invisible.
No, there's nothing invisible about Mark.
Yeah. And welcome to the Riley Black Project with Krystal and John.
Hey.
I am still in conference mode, as you can see. I'm still taking it to the next level.
You are.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
Still a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I literally just cleared the table off of thingies.
Right, yeah.
Before the show.
All the thingies I didn't get to separate because we ran out of time.
Right, and this was Thingy Central.
It was. The infamous picture.
Yeah.
The Scarface-esque picture.
Right. So,
well, and I should mention that Will didn't give me COVID this time.
Yes. He didn't give anyone COVID this time.
Thankfully.
I don't think anyone got COVID this time.
Don't say that.
Okay.
You can't have that many people and no one.
I mean,
that would be pretty good odds.
Yeah. But I think everyone made it out healthy.
Yeah, healthy-ish.
Yeah,
because we were all. I mean, the allergies while I was out there. I woke up every morning and my face was like just swollen.
Yeah, a lot of people
eyeballs
felt that way.
Yeah. So I definitely had some allergies, and you just working that hard for that many days in a row while also working hard like before it is you can't walk away from those like feeling feeling 100% healthy. At least not in my world.
I mean your immune system takes a hit because you're
a little bit
sleeping less and working a lot.
Yeah.
So we were gonna recap this with good old Heather.
Yeah, we were supposed to have Heather.
Yeah.
But now she's a super busy lady and she's neglecting her friendship with me. I give her shit all of the time that she has too many jobs and that I don't fit into her life like I used to. I know. It's sad.
And she's closer.
Right? 2 hours away and this bitch is still unattainable. I still love her regardless, but thankfully she made space for a really, really awesome person who, if you went to the conference,
you definitely saw her person.
And you saw her running around helping everybody with a huge smile on her face.
Welcome to the show, Krystal with a K.
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
I'm really excited. You guys are absolutely popping my podcast cherry. I've never been a guest on somebody else's show before.
Yeah, so she's a fellow podcaster. So we'll definitely talk about her podcast at some point. It was funny, we were in the like meeting on Thursday before the conference and Mark kept saying Krystal this, Krystal that, Krystal, and every time I'm like which one? Which Krystal? I'm like, can we like establish like the difference in the crystals? And it was like Krystal O or Krystal A, and then she was purple crystal and red crystal. And still every time he would say Krystal, and I'm like, which one? And they're like, purple crystal. I'm like, okay. I got it.
The amount of times somebody would be across the building yelling Krystal.
Right?
Yeah. Who would you like?
Which one? Me? Her? Am I good?
So how are you recovering from the conference?
I'm still tired. I think I'm still tired, but I think I'm just gonna be this way forever.
Same.
So this is what it is. I'm fine.
Yeah, I can't decide if my tired is like parenting tired, I went to bed too late tired, or conference tired. It's probably all of the above.
That's fair.
I'm just tired. Tired.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was a great time.
Man,
it was. I had an amazing time.
We're still, obviously it's only been a week, so we're still like on that high of just like meeting everybody and like getting those interactions and like just the crazy things people tell you, like, oh, I've been watching you for years, or I look up to you, or like you're like it's just I can't even.
Right. I remember telling you when we had gotten hi Mark.
Hey.
when we got back from dinner, you know, when we're gonna check in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you ready to get recognized?
No.
And you're like, no.
I
and
never am.
And as soon as we walked in, it's like, hey, I watch you guys.
Yeah, no, so we not obvious at all.
Nope.
Mark didn't see you one bit.
He's trying so hard to like get his work done and be invisible.
Don't.
Sorry,
don't be
you're too
invisible,
tall
Mark.
to be invisible.
No, there's nothing invisible about Mark.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high-quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser-ready blanks.
Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser-tested and laser-approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte, anything matte, and I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit houstonacrylic.com.
Do it.
But yeah, so it was funny because I didn't realize it until we were literally like pulling up to the hotel, and because we hadn't checked in yet, and it was like, I don't know, 6:40 or something like that, because dinner and stuff took way longer than we expected. And I was like, it was that moment that I was like, shit, there's gonna be people in the lobby.
We're gonna be like, peopling from the minute we walk
immediately. I barely made it in, and there was people at the in line to check in, and then already the registration table was set up, and I was like, I'm not ready, because it was like it was instant, and then again there was people who I listened to your podcast. It was funny. The husband, he was like, oh yeah, I listened to your podcast. Your podcast's great. And his wife goes, what podcast? And apparently he was listening solo and didn't tell her about it at all. And she was like, why didn't you tell me? Yeah. But and then it was just I don't know. It just the peopling started immediately, which is great. But then it's that double-edged sword, especially because I used to be I've never been a super extrovert, but I used to really like to be around people and all of that. And then working from home for the last 5 years, and you add in COVID and all of that, it definitely switched me to a much less people-y person.
Well, because you don't have to do it on a regular,
right? And so I not only had to teach the 5 classes and then slang the keychain thingies, and then people when I wasn't doing either of those, again, it was all awesome. But then the second you get to your room, you're dead.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. So, I mean, you guys had a lot of, how much were you helping with, I guess, the conference prep with Mark and all that before you guys
a lot
headed there? Yeah.
I was not involved in class planning or anything like that. That absolutely was Mark and Will, and then Tyler, because Tyler did, some teaching and things with Mark. Yeah. I was more kind of just behind, let's get these things together. Let's get these cutouts made for jewelry. Let's get all these things painted and made and stuff packed for our table. That was a lot of stuff that I was doing while the guys were able to actually get the meat of the conference put together.
Right.
And then I kind of just continued, when I got there, they're all busy with classes. So I kind of just kept doing whatever I had to do to make things happen.
Yeah, you did great. You'd pop in, just randomly pop up hey, you need anything? You good? And it just, again, no matter what time it was, I don't know if at any part of that, you were tired, irritated, or annoyed, like you wouldn't have known, because like you just had this huge smile on your face and you came in to like, you know, refresh all the rooms in between classes. And like, you know, I'd see in the chat, like, you know, someone would say, oh, we need this, or this isn't working, or we need a cord. And then there's Krystal on it with an exclamation point. Like, and you know, I barely knew her, but I like could see her like springing into action with with a cape and a smile, like ready to like fix that person's problem. And it was so great.
I really enjoy convention work. I have a background in convention work. I've done lots of very large conventions. I've worked the Georgia World Congress Center, places like that. So I love doing this. And then working this convention, it gave me the opportunity to have more one-on-one connections with people, which I don't normally get to have. Larger conventions, maybe I'm taking 2 escalators and an elevator to get to the office I need to go to fix a problem or put out a fire. Here, it's like the classroom's around the corner. I can fix this and be back to help you. Give me 10 minutes. And that was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah. And so what do you do for Mark? And like, how did that kind of come about?
So this is a weird story. Okay. So what I do for Mark, I do most of the painting. I do a lot of assembly. And then if Mark or Tyler want to test something and they're like, we made this file, we want to give it to somebody who wasn't a part of the planning process, and like, let us know if it makes you cry. You know, is it awful to put together? Do we need to change something? If you don't have us holding your hands, is it easy to get to our customers? So I'll test things like that. Mostly it's finishing and painting. I do almost everything as far as that goes. Yeah. I started working here. I did not know Mark. I was already friends with Tyler for about a year before I met Mark. And COVID happened. Before COVID happened, I was building circuit boards for, this is funny, not Eon.
Oh, nice.
They build, so they manufacture industrial air conditioning units. They're the ones that you see on top of big box stores, the mall, Walmart, Sam's Club. I was building circuit boards that controlled the fan power and the gas controller. I built those for those bucks. COVID happened and our industry started, well, our industry being, there was 5 of us in the world who knew how to build these circuit boards. So we started competing with the automotive industry because we would use the same microcontrollers as the automotive industry used. And because so many cars are completely computer controlled, there's nothing we can do about it. And of course, like our digital controllers take way back seat to automotive. And then when the factory started getting switched over to manufacturing PPE, everybody shut down.
Right.
So we were kind of just in this, okay, we think the work's going to come back.
Right.
Maybe there's like $10,000 worth of stuff on the board that we need to build. And then we came in one day and it was like, hey, we had to sue. They're not paying us anymore. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but maybe cut out the name of the company.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, we had to sue our client. We're not going to be working for them anymore. Company's closed. You don't have a job anymore. I mean, like overnight, $10,000 worth of work on the board in the next 2 months, nothing.
Yeah.
And I've been out of the normal workforce for so long. I've worked for myself in one capacity or another. I've been a massage therapist for 14 years, working for myself for 12 of that. So I'm so out of touch with having a boss, having to go find a job, like just being in the workforce.
Yep.
I just put on my Facebook, like, hey, anybody out there know a company that won't suck my soul away to go work for?
Very important.
Yeah, because I'm like, man, I've been out for a long time. I don't want to do it again, right?
Right.
Because once you get out, you know what you're missing, and you're like,
oh yeah, I'm completely ruined. If I ever have to like go back and get like I always want to call it a real job, but it's not a real job to me. It like a job, a normal job, or a job that like where you work for someone else. I'm completely ruined because the only one I have to listen to is me and sometimes him, as far as like working so that we can pay our bills. But like having to work for someone else and, oh, you need to stay late, or you need to come in early, or you need to do this horrible mundane task that you absolutely hate because I said so. And even though it's someone else's job and they're slacking, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like I can't. And for like how many dollars, not very many.
Like, no.
So it's just like, yeah, and I'm 100% ruined.
No getting plugged back in the matrix.
Mm-mm. So
You're
like
out,
if
you're
I
out.
did, my rule, even when we were moving here, was because I made a lot of money at my old job, but I hated it towards the end. And so my rule was it needed oh, cough. I've missed you. So I would rather do something fun for less money.
Right.
Than do something not fun for more money. Like, that was what became important to me. And so I was like, if I'm going to do accounting, I'm going to do accounting for like a tattoo shop or, what I mean? Something like some kind of atmosphere where I'm fine. Maybe I'll continue to do accounting, but again, I'm going to do it for a company that is fun or engaging, or there's something about it that keeps me interested. Or if I go back and I need to find a job, like I'll be the front desk girl at, again, a tattoo shop, or I don't know what, something like that. Because like when I worked at the tattoo shop on the side, that was fun. Obviously the people I worked with made it fun as well, but it never felt like work. Like a 10-hour day will go like that. And it was like, oh, so that like, that's what's important now, not the other stuff. So totally ruined.
Absolutely. So you actually know a piece of this puzzle.
Yeah.
We had Mark's long time, like since childhood friend Arthur came and spoke at the conference. I've known Arthur for years as well. One of the things that I do in my spare time, another job almost, I'm a charity cosplayer. And I have worked a lot for Arthur's charities. So that's how I met Arthur. Arthur comments on my post and he's like, hey, send me a message. Yeah. And I was like, all right, Arthur's got something weird he wants me to do because it's Arthur. So I sent him a message. We started talking and he's like, hey, I don't really have like a set position I can give you, but I have a lot of random things that I need help with. Yeah. How about like, can you just help me do some of these things while you're looking for whatever job you're going to go into? Right. And so it was, hey, he handed me a box of 6 inflatable snowman costumes. And he was like, fix these, like make them easy for my cosplayers to wear. And I was like, oh, okay. So I fixed them. I gave them back. And then it would be like, oh, I need you to go take my truck and detail it and wash it over here and then deliver these things. It was just totally random jobs. Yeah. And then somewhere in the middle of all that, he's like, oh, I could really use some help with this Etsy shop. I want you to come up and meet my friend Mark and see where he works. And I want your help with my Etsy shop, which is Boomafoo, which is their other thing. Yeah. And it was just handling orders, answering messages, just, nothing big, a couple hours a week. Right. And so I came up here, I met Mark. Tyler was immediately like, you're going to like him. He's super cool. Don't even worry about it. So that was enough, really. Yeah. Like Tyler's like, you're cool. I'm like, okay, it's enough for me. I was up for maybe a week and they were like, hey, let me teach you how to make this award. I'd never seen a laser in my life before I started working up here. Not in person anyway. Right. Yeah. The closest I'd ever seen were advertisements for Glowforge on social media. Right. I'd never seen one before. Which I might add, I'd never seen a soldering iron before I started making circuit boards for Aeon. So I keep landing in these jobs that are like, you're going to learn on the fly and you're not going to know anything. Yeah. Okay. So I start building boards and then I start cutting things. And then here it's like, maybe I've been working for Boomafoo for a month. And Mark's like, hey, could I teach you to do this thing? Yeah. And then it would be like, here I'm doing a couple things for Big Blue. Oh, you know what? Could you handle some of these packaging things for me? And I'm doing a couple other things for Big Blue. And then it's like, hey, do you know how to paint? Hey, can you do this? And before I know it, I've got keys. He's sending me to the store with his credit card. And I'm like, here I am. Yeah. And now I don't do a whole lot with the other store because it's not nearly as busy. We just don't get as much from our customers who need things on the other side. Yeah. Almost all of my attention now belongs to Mark and Big Blue. Yeah. So that's how I ended up here. just totally random.
I love how, I mean, I feel like that's everybody's story as far as the laser world. It's never like, oh, my dad had one or my sister had one, or it was like,
No, that's
I
the next
accidentally stumbled. Right. I accidentally stumbled upon one somehow, some way,
Right.
or Glowforge marketing got them or something like that. But it's never like I set out to like make those things and bought it, you know? So that's the coolest thing I think about it, is that, you know, it just kind of like laser chooses you kind of thing.
Yeah, laser chooses you.
I didn't choose the laser life chose me.
That's another shirt. Let's not forget that. That we need to add that
Make
to
it happen. I want
the
one.
merch line. Because it's true. I mean, like, it really chooses you most of the time. And like, you know, a lot of times, especially the spouses who aren't on board, like, you definitely didn't choose the life and you were kind of forced into it. And then now you're like, oh, okay, well, now that we're doing this, we're doing this.
Yeah,
you know,
now we got a gang. The laser husbands.
Right.
The laser
I know, I saw the
The laser
picture.
husband crew.
The laser underground. I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to this. So
I love it. I like being here.
I mean, I guess, did we cover everything we wanted to for the conference? I feel like we didn't talk about it enough.
There was so
We
much.
gotta talk
There's
about-
so much to talk about. I mean, the general sessions were amazing. Like having everyone in that room.
Yeah.
And just feeling the energy
Mhm.
in the room was great. All the speakers.
Yeah.
You know, Emily and her whole story from like beginning to now.
Right.
I mean, there was just so much knowledge aside from the classes.
Mhm.
I feel like between the general sessions and then people, you know, you got to like you were saying, you got to talk to people one-on-one.
Yeah.
And people who normally you see, like, you know, a lot. I saw you guys a lot saying like, "What's your name in the groups?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, I know you. I remember the name."
The funniest part was like there had to have been 17,000 Marias. Like I lost track of how many Marias there were. And so like I'd meet somebody and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm Maria." And I was like, and like, how do I know you? Because sometimes they'd say it like I should know who they are, like from just their first name. And then every once in a while they'd be like, "Oh, I'm the one who's always bugging you. Like, here, I'm the one who made this joke." Or I'm like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. So I always had to like get them to give a little bit more
than your name. What group?
Or like, what's your profile picture? Is it like, oh, that purple dragon? Oh, I know that one. You know what I mean?
Is it a Tumblr?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so little things like that, because like you can't, first of all, the picture's this big. So unless I'm a stalker and I'm clicking on it and making it bigger, like that's one thing. And then a lot of times people don't even have them as their profile picture. And if they do, like, do their family or their kids or their grandkids or their dog. And then two, the name they have on Facebook isn't always the name that they like go by.
Right.
Or if I follow you on Instagram, I follow your business name. So if your name is Maria on Facebook, but you're, you know, I don't know, Crafty Creations on Instagram, I don't know that I've been talking to you this whole time. You're brand new to me.
You're Crafty Creations. Yeah.
So making that connection was always like difficult, but awesome once you did. And like, just for me, for the classes, like I'm always so anxious because one, just because anxiety. And two, because like for silhouette, I'm self-taught. And so like, no one taught me how to, you know, to do this way or do this that way. Unless it was like some YouTube video or something like that. And so I always have like the anxiety of like, am I really doing it the easiest way? Do I know like as much as I think I know?
Always second guessing yourself.
Right. And so I'm glad I didn't know it until the end each session. I just assumed that every single person was a newbie, and you know that I didn't have anything to worry about, I guess. And then the little feedback forms at the end of the class, then I'd see, oh, I have 12 year silhouette experience. And I'm like, oh God, what is the rest of this going to say? And I was super happy to see there was one that was, I think, 5 years, 10 years, and then 12 years. And each one of them said that they learned something new. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And so it was like, okay, so there is something to this,
Right.
you know. And I would every class. I remember the first class especially. It was 9:45 in the morning. Thank you, Mark and Will. Please don't do that to me next conference. Please don't give me the first class any day.
Actually, if you look at our first comment in last week's episode, you'll see that they missed our live.
Oh yeah,
because they had a class at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh right.
And they're like, I don't know why they do this. We're all old.
Right. Yeah.
Camille something.
Yeah, Camille. Yeah, she's great. And it was awesome meeting her in person because she's super like interactive in the groups and stuff. So to actually meet her in person was awesome. But I remember we were setting up for the first class, and you know, I was like, oh, and like, you know, I always need like an emotional support. So like you weren't allowed to leave until like I was good.
You told me I wasn't allowed to leave that first class.
Yeah.
And then I heard
so then this is what I waited for every single class was the mind blown like reactions. The
yeah.
Or the oh my, or the wow, or like the no way, like those. It was those comments, and I'm like, see, that's when I needed. As soon as I would get that in the class, I would like calm down. But it would take me every new class. I would wait for that moment, and I wasn't at the same part for each class.
No,
there was one class where like they weren't laughing at my jokes. They seemed a little tired. They seemed a little tired. I wasn't getting the. It was like it was much longer in that class. So yeah, that one made me worry a bit. And I like then like by then I think I told you I wasn't following my notes as much because I had already done that project 3 times. So my brain was like, you don't need those notes. You've done it 3 times. And like while I don't need it if I'm doing it for myself, doing it for a class, I needed those notes because those notes helped me do it in steps that made sense to others. For me, it's okay to go back and change that color of the score lines, you know, later. If I do that at some random point in a class, they're like, well, why? Okay, why are we doing that now? Like, why, you know? So it threw me off.
You do something often, it's almost second nature, right?
Exactly. And so I didn't use my notes as much. And so then I felt like I was kind of going all over the place. And so I was like, you know, again, not getting the same feedback that I did in the others. And someone came up afterwards and they're like, oh, that was great. I was like, really? I thought I bombed that one. They're like, no, you did great. I was like, okay, good. It was just me. It was just my brain, you know, self-sabotaging over here. Like, we're good. But yeah, and like, the dinners and just getting to meet people on like a personal level. Man, the episode, it'll be last week for them. Of the like Heather and I were ready to fight a dude in the bar over them. Have you heard that story, Krystal? Oh God.
So many times from so many different people.
So bad.
Yeah, my boy Silos. Shout out to Silos.
Right.
I met him in person. It was great.
Oh, these two.
Yeah.
Freaking
Carlos.
Bonding. Having no idea. They're the closest to this man who's like yelling and mocking.
We're
unaware
who he's yelling at, and we have no idea because we're just
in the moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
bromancing.
What kind of hateful person you gotta be to make fun of somebody who's happy? Right.
Someone's laugh made you mad.
Like
who hurt you?
Mad.
Yeah.
He was mad.
A hug?
Yeah.
He needed
several hugs. He needed I don't know what he needed, but I was like, I'm so sorry that man's happiness makes you that uncomfortable.
And granted, I mean, if you watch the show, you know Carlos has a loud laugh. And
listen, his laugh gives life.
Right. Well, I mean, it was so much that even so it was bothering him how loud it was.
Right.
Right, but it wasn't bothering. No one else realized. No one else was like. No one realized. No, like the bartenders were like, "What's your problem?"
The whole staff had no idea what this guy was mad
about. Exactly. So I mean, it goes to be like, yeah, his laugh is loud, but it was only annoying that one guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was the closest.
Yes, yeah, but still, like,
yeah. It was, and I will say, he laughed in the that in between the two sliding doors in the hotel. That
but it echoes.
Oh my God, it echoed so loud. I was like, oh,
yeah, but this was an open bar.
Right.
Oh,
Oh man.
I love it.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that.
No, just it was like the live doing last week's live.
Oh yeah. Well, and then so where I was going with that, it was like it literally turns into like a family now.
Yeah.
Like sure, meeting them online and talking to them and giving them jokes and stuff, in person, but then turning around and following that up with meeting someone in person, having like an in-person conversation,
Right.
or like teaching them in person. And them, there's one girl who said, I've been trying to use Silhouette for 4 or 5 years, and every time I would go in there, she would get frustrated and shut down and just go like try something else or another program. I'm not sure. But just that, like that hour and a half made it not so scary. And it was like, oh, okay, this is doable. And this is so like just making those changes and impacts and those like those mind blown moments. There was one girl, she was like, I'm literally the mind blown emoji. And I was like, yes. And I heard that about everyone else's classes too, that they genuinely loved going like every single part of the conference, and that makes all of the stress and the leading up to that and the no sleep and the peopling makes it all worth it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was great seeing like listeners that listen or watch the show and them coming. I hope no one felt like they couldn't come up to us and talk to us.
Yeah, no, we're not scared.
You guys seem very approachable, very accessible.
Okay, good.
I know. I was trying really hard to kind of be a little just to hear what people were saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the complaints were so minor. It was just like, oh, this was a little fast, or I got a little lost. It was not things that anybody really could control.
Right.
Everybody was loving the classes.
The hard part is that, like you said, a couple of the feedbacks were like, oh, it was a little fast, or I couldn't write everything down, or I couldn't get everything. And we tried to do our best to combat that, which I need to work on that today. I'm going to upload like the last 2 classes so they can follow along and pause, start, rewind, go back. I'm going to put up my, albeit I think terrible notes up, but if they help somebody, great, that kind of stuff, so that you didn't have to worry about like listen along, wait for that like ooh moment, write that down, but then don't feel like you have to write down the entire class, because if
you can watch it again.
Yeah, well, and we can't go at everyone's speed, because everyone's speed is different. For some people, it might have felt a little slow to, depending on your level, your skill level, how long you've been working in it, what your background is. So yeah, I mean, obviously, and that feedback is still valuable, because then it's like, not your opinion still matters. How can we make it so that, we maybe go at the same speed, but that we give you the extra tools you need to make it work for you, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So yeah,
I think it was kind of like that for all of them. That certainly wasn't a you guys specific. It was about every class. And it is because of that. It's just people are always at different levels. There's no way, unless you have like, oh, this is 101, this is intermediate, and this is advanced.
Well, and even then that's hard,
the only
because
way to kind of like,
then it's like, this is going to sound wrong, but then you have to expect people to know what level they're at.
Right. And not everybody knows.
Right. And not everybody knows. They might think, oh, I'm like more advanced. And then even myself, I could go to an advanced class and be like, whoa, okay, maybe I'm not advanced, because this is way over my head. Or, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I don't think there's obviously there's things we can do, but there's no perfect way to make it like a one size fits all.
Right.
So, I mean, those things never fit me anyway.
And then you also have the time constraint.
Yes.
Right.
So you can't really go into any one topic like too deep.
Right.
Because you got to move on to get all this other stuff.
Well, and then, I heard it several times and it kind of made me a little scared. But like a lot of people were like, oh, it's not long enough. And I'm like, I can't do longer than an hour and a half. Like, please don't. And like, if I would hear them say it, or they were saying it to me, and I'm like, I respect your opinion, but like I can't do 2 out, like, you know what I mean? Like
Right,
2-hour classes each, that it's a lot. Cause
Right.
even like the ones where I had the 2 back to back, it was 3 hours and that 15 minutes in between. And that 15 minutes in between was not a break. It was the people from the first class still asking questions that they had left over, and the new people asking like, will this happen or can we do this? You know what I mean? Like it was not a 15-minute break. So it was like, 3 hours and 15 minutes plus, because again, as soon as that last class ended, it wasn't like everyone left and was just like, bye, which was great too. But like, it's just a lot. So it's
and I try to
finding that sweet spot of long enough and not too long.
Yeah. I try to come back to at least alleviate the thingy sell from you.
Yeah.
Because like you can't be answering questions and selling thingies in the back of the room.
Yeah. So, but man, it just, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I had like, Mark and Will allowed me to just go in and out of all the classes to record and stuff like that. So it was cool seeing how the different techniques, like especially like in the different mediums, like because you were teaching like on a computer, where like Julie, she had like a painting workshop, and everyone was like painting and getting their hands dirty, and then you had the replica surfaces.
I'm
like in
so
the big
sad
room.
I missed that class. I've seen everyone's like, their pictures that they took as soon as they get home, and they all look amazing, and I'm like, oh, I should have gone to that class. Like I've had a lot of amazing feedback from Misa, who normally would do that class. So I have that, but like just being there and being in person and seeing it done in person is different than like Misa trying to explain something to me through Messenger or whatever. It doesn't always translate the same way. But
they're there to physically you need to tilt your hands this way,
exactly,
like
this tiny
physically move
adjustment.
you, or
stuff like that. And then I just loved how the second people got home, they were, I want to buy this, I want to sign up for this person's course, I want to look at this picture I took the second I got home, or like applying the knowledge like the second they got home. Because they were still just on a high.
Even I got back home and started looking at different cases to travel with my gear.
Right, because
I was like, that backpack was heavy. I need like a rolling case.
Yeah.
So I got back and looked like, how can I carry this? How can I travel with this gear to the next one better?
Yeah. We immediately.
I don't envy you. I'm watching you drag all that around, and I'm like, I'm gonna keep taking candids with my phone.
It was
believe it or not, I was having just as much of a good time as you were putting out fires.
Yeah.
I was lugging the gear and everything like that. It was fun. It was a great time. It was meeting
He would
people.
have the 2 backpacks at a time. So he'd have one backpack back here, and one was mostly like laptops and whatever.
Well,
and
one was your laptop for your class, and this laptop that we had the podcast rolling on the table.
Right.
And then my other one had my camera, batteries,
everything,
whatever, cables, whatever I needed.
Yeah.
But it was.
And so he'd have him like front and back, and he'd put his arms right here, and he's like, I feel like a police officer with their,
with
their
the
bulletproof vest.
Because you know how
they walk around like this.
Yep.
Yeah. Like. Yeah.
Every time I'd see him in the hallway, he's all this stuff.
Yep.
Big old smile on his face and just all this stuff.
Yep. Well, and then like he'd always have all the stuff, and every once in a while I'd have to help. And my non-strength self, he would give me one that was like half full, and he was like, "Here, can you carry this one?"
The
I'm
one with
like,
the laptops. It just had 2 laptops in it.
And I was like, I like couldn't wait to set that down when we finally got it where it was going. Hell, even those keychain things were freaking heavy.
Yeah.
When that backpack was full.
There was a lot of them.
Yeah. Man, y'all made me proud though. You bought a lot.
Yeah.
I need to sell more next time.
Right.
I still didn't bring enough of some of them.
And then we also found out where we were lacking, like the 500 packs. People love the 500 packs.
6 of them. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
You ran out?
Yep. I still don't know. So I put a post in the conference group.
Yeah.
I sold a 500 pack of the extra strength clears and a 400 pack of the extra strength black because they took 100 with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a genius and didn't attach an email, an address, a name, nothing.
All we got is a credit card number, and we're not going to post that.
No,
See
no.
if it's you.
And we don't even have the whole thing. It's only the last 4.
Oh, so maybe we can post that. Hey, if your credit,
If you have a master card, 1,
last
2,
4
3,
digits,
4.
yeah.
Let us know. We have
Let us
your
know.
stuff.
Yeah, we got your
Right?
stuff.
Like I posted it in the group, and everyone, like a couple people were like, "Not mine, but thanks for the reminder to order," and like
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Eh?
But like, it's literally sitting aside, and I like, unfortunately, now I just have to wait for them to be like, "Where the f is my
Right.
order?" and hope that they can find me, because like I want to get you your stuff, and I feel like a jerk because I was tired and wasn't thinking when I took your order to send it home, and I can't even picture who it was. My brain is telling me it was like maybe a 50s or mid 50s with short hair, but I could be 100% wrong.
Yeah, I was
And
wrong.
even then,
I told her the 2 that I thought it was. She messaged them and they said, no, it's not me.
No.
So
Okay.
that's all I got.
Well, good luck.
And
Okay,
I was-
my fingers
hopefully they're
crossed for you.
listening, maybe.
And the funny part was I was sitting there.
you were right
I remember
there.
that transaction too.
Who
Mhm.
was it? We don't know.
Don't know. I mean, I thought it was one of 2, and it was neither one. So.
No.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I have a few moments like that, like not with stuff, but with people. Like
Right.
I found out I was calling a couple of people the wrong name the entire time.
Oh, that's what we do.
Like,
Welcome to
and
the
they
club.
weren't correcting me. Like I
Yes.
called Jamie Robin for 3 days, and she just answered to it every time. And finally,
my
Mark
God.
was like, "Who's Robin? We don't have Robin here." And I
Yeah.
was like, the photo lady. And he's like,
Yeah.
"You mean
That's
Jamie?"
me.
And I was like, "No, I mean Robin." It's like, that's not her name. And I was like,
Yeah.
she's been answering to it since I met her.
Yeah.
So
Listen, we
At
have
this point,
we
she's
have
like, yes.
we have Carlos Robert. We have Tony Tom.
Tony Tom.
Um,
Hector
Victor.
That
Hector
wasn't
Yeah,
us.
I
That
knew
was
Hector Victor.
What else? There's so many.
yeah,
Like, it
everyone
just-
gets the second name.
Yeah, you can't. You can't help it.
There
We're
was-
terrible with names.
You know the really short, I think maybe she was in her 50s, maybe.
Uh.
Really short, shiny, silvery gray and white hair.
Yes.
She was always very smiley. She won Mark's year subscription during one of the general sessions. So her name is Shelly. But I called her Fraggle Rock all weekend, like, because it was a thing we had at registration. She was going by Fraggle Rock. I put her in my phone as Megan.
Oh my God.
I put Fraggle in parentheses, Megan.
Please.
And I texted her because, I mean, there were a couple of people, only 1 or 2, but people I gave my actual phone number to.
Right.
I was like, there's such a connection. I don't want to lose this.
Right.
So I'm texting her and I'm like, and by the way, is your name actually Megan or did I make that up? And she was like, nope, my name is Shelly.
That's hilarious. But it's I don't know. It's so great. Even if we mess up your name, it doesn't mean we don't love you.
No,
Right, we
no,
do
we
love
know
you.
your
Actually,
face.
it might mean that we like you more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved Carlos Robert.
Yeah, like
and you
Tom.
loved Tony Tom.
Yeah,
so.
like Tom and Todd. Like I was giving. So he made.
Oh my God.
He made
The
shirts
Laser
for the
Husband
Laser
shirts.
Husband. But
It was so funny
it
though,
was
'cause
for him.
Heather threw him straight under the bus. So the second I walk up to her at the bar, like Tony, damn it, Tom, Bud, and April's husband, Frank. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know his name.
Yeah.
So they were all talking, and Heather goes, "Tom made Laser Husband's shirts, and he forgot to ask John."
Yep.
And like she literally threw bus. And I was like, how dare he?
Yeah.
And I was like, we are friends.
And I think what happened. I think what happened was, so he had my name. He had everything but my size, and I think he just forgot to ask me what size.
Right. Well, and they're
And then he
also
ordered
like
it. Well,
at the time they were like, close enough that they could all meet up.
Yeah.
And
Philly,
so those
Jersey.
are the ones he's gonna have like fresh in his head. Like these are the Laser Husbands he's literally met, close to home a few times.
Right.
So like I totally get it.
Yeah,
There's a million things that
Same.
But
I
yeah,
totally,
so
but
it was
kept,
just it was
every
funny.
time I saw him, I was like, it's all right. I don't have a shirt. It's cool.
It's
Especially
funny.
when they wore their shirts and they were hanging out. I'm like,
my
I don't have a
God.
shirt, but it's all right. I still feel like part of the crew. It's
Right.
fine. It's
I
fine.
love the picture you guys took of the 3 with the Laser Husband shirts, and then you and
well, I purposely
Robert.
put ourselves on the outside because clearly we're on the outside of the group. We're not in the group because
That's
we don't
okay.
have
you
shirts.
guys are have a bromance yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Me and CeeLo's are gonna make shirts.
Oh, you should
Make your own.
Husband crew 2.
right. Those, the Latin crew.
The Latin crew. There it is.
Yeah, they don't have that.
No, they don't.
I mean, they might.
Don't. Or the short crew.
The street
They're,
guys
they're taller than
they're
us.
all much taller than you guys. But in conclusion, it tells you that like it's literally just like this whole family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's people that you're going to keep in contact with, like potentially forever after just meeting them at the conference. Like April, I first met her at the conference, and I probably never would have like really. I would not have this relationship that I have with her now had it not been for the conference. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So like, yeah, just, and again, in person, it's not the same. Like they can be funny and stuff like on Facebook, and then you meet them in person. You're like, okay, you're not funny, but like, you're just not like, it doesn't always mesh as well.
Because there's no edit. There's no edit button. You can't go backspace.
True.
That didn't sound right coming out that way. Yeah.
And so the ones that do in person that, you know, you vibe with, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. I still will never forget from the first one, how on the first day of the conference, everyone was going to dinner and Heather wasn't there yet. So I was even more like secluded because I didn't have like my support rock. And they were all talking about going to dinner. And this girl or this lady was like kind of hanging around April, and she didn't know her. But I thought she did, and I just like it was too many people I didn't know yet for me to like go to dinner and kind of. And again, you don't have a car, so you kind of stuck like there, and all the recipe of things that my anxiety does not enjoy. And they were all going to dinner, and Lisa, Carlos's wife, just assumed that like I knew all them, and I was going with them because she's the same way, and she just wanted to go wherever I was going to go. And I was like, I don't know them. I'm not going with them. I'm not going anywhere. And like, and I asked April later too. I'm like, who was that girl? And she's like, I don't know. I wasn't going to dinner with her. And I was like, oh, okay, like you're my people. Like we can go. We're all like we want friends, but like we kind of don't want friends. It takes a lot for like you to become like, you know, in the circle. Yeah, so
every time I would see Carlos or Lisa going upstairs, because they're you know they told me like they're introverts or whatever. And every time
in their room,
I kept asking them.
I pulled her out of her room so many times, and she's like, "Are you really gonna be there?" I'm like, "Yes, come down." She's like, "Okay, I'm in my pajamas." I was like, "Come downstairs."
Yeah, I would see Carlos going upstairs. I'm like, "You guys are coming back, right?" You're coming back downstairs. We're gonna be downstairs. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "No, you're coming back downstairs." We got 3 days. Here. We only have 3 days to hang out. Come downstairs. So I kept
get out of your room.
Too. Yeah, or at least I'd be like, "You coming back, right? You're coming back? We're gonna be down there. You're coming back."
Well, and then her fucking Lisa, she would disappear, and I'd be like, "Where did you go?" And she was like, "I was giving you time with your friend." And I was like, "If you don't get your fucking ass back here right now, you don't need time. You are not a burden. You are not annoying me with your presence. Like, cut it out and get back here."
Yeah.
And I'm like, just tell your anxiety to shut up, because I know that that's what it is.
Right.
She thinks, oh, I'm in the way. They're talking. She doesn't want me here. And it's like, that's never the case.
Right.
But yeah, so I was like, get back here. Yeah. It was
lots of fun.
I don't know. Yeah. It won't go away. The excitement might like fade a little bit, but then hopefully by that time we'll have another date scheduled, and we'll be able to just look forward to that one. Yep. So if
we're already talking. We're already talking.
Tell him to get on it. Just give us a date. Just give us like maybe even like an approximate month, so that we can just start like have something. Because right now it's like, oh, okay, one's coming soon probably, but like this year or next year, or like, do I just need to wait a couple months? Do I need to wait 6 to 8? You know, these are things we need to know. Because we don't want this high to go.
I'm holding out for a cruise. I want a laser cruise. That would be so much fun.
I don't know. See, we're not really We're not. I went on one cruise.
I mean, listen. If I was to go on a cruise,
Will's got the bug in my head.
Will definitely wants a cruise. Heather's against the cruise. She's like, I'll be waiting on land for all of you.
I saw that. She's like, you go. I'm not going.
I'm not like woohoo cruise, but I'm not absolutely not like she is.
Right.
But I'm like,
it depends on how long.
And how far.
How long we're out to sea, how far. But if there was a crew that I would go on a cruise with,
it would be the laser.
It would definitely be the laser group.
Yeah.
You know, to go.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, you were considering one for the comedian you follow, Bert Kreischer.
Oh yeah, but that was
It was because it would be all your favorite comedians, and it would just be like a party, you know, hangout. Yeah.
So he's doing a cruise.
Bert Kreischer is doing a cruise.
It's sold out. No, but it's sold out.
It's sold out in like a few days.
Yeah.
Bummer.
He was.
I know, because we were considering it, and we were like, okay, it's in October, and it was right around Halloween. I'm like, are we going to be back in time to like not be terrible parents and like, you know, take them Halloween, you know, whatever, trick or treating. And we were trying to figure out like, okay, it was a little expensive. We're like, okay, how are we going to make this work? And like in sold just out. The time of thinking about it, it was sold out. And so many of the comedians gave him shit for the cruise. He's like, nobody wants to go on a fucking comedy cruise. And he was like, watch me. And he did it. And he was sold out in like 2 days.
He had held the like list of all the comedians that were going to be there.
Yeah, no, you didn't even know who the guests were.
He only released a few of them.
Before it sold out.
He was holding it to see like how ticket sales were going to do, and then hopefully get another bump.
Like entice.
But it was sold out before he even announced all the
Okay.
Yeah. I know. I mean, well, and just like the conference, there's always people who can't make it once it comes up. So I'm sure there will be, you know.
No, there's a back. There's
there's like a wait list already.
Yes,
man.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It was crazy.
But yeah, so but again, that was one cruise that we were like considering, you know, going on. I mean, I went on one with my mom when I was like maybe 21, 22. And I did have a lot of fun. There's no service. So like you're stuck to that. You have to like pay for like internet usage and like the little, you know, and it's shoddy. Yeah. And then I played bingo a couple times and I won and got my like tab of the day like paid for. And then there was one like cool like club that like they played all Michael Jackson music one day, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm stuck here. You're stuck with me. I'm not leaving.
Right.
But then like there were like some kids and stuff, and then like, you know, I didn't have kids at the time, so especially then I was like, whose kids are these? Come get your things. And they would think like, again, like it's not the kids' problem, it's the parents. The parents were like, oh, we're on a cruise,
right? They
can't go anywhere. And it's like, but they can be real annoying to other people. Please keep them close.
Right.
So they were just extra trusting. And I'm like, sure, they can't go anywhere. I mean, they could go overboard, but like they can't really go anywhere.
That's fair.
Right.
I mean,
but that doesn't mean that there's not creepy people on a cruise ship.
We had that at this conference. That dance competition.
Oh my God.
How many little girls weren't taking the elevator by themselves with
going
no
up
parents?
And down.
And like I was like, how do these parents allow like
no.
they were just going up.
It was stressful.
I was like,
I'm not even a parent, and it was stressful to watch these tiny children.
Just like, and then like, and again,
you're in a hotel with people you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And we in a city and state, I'm sure that like they don't know. Like, I mean, like,
and in a place like Dallas, there are highways everywhere. I mean,
and like
people vanish every day. They vanish so quickly, and these are tiny babies just off on their own.
It's not talked about a lot, but like trafficking, like it's a thing. Like so, like don't, especially like that would have been like candy store for some creep because there were so many unattended
and it's
like,
not like there was
tons of children.
Right. And usually that happens during like big events. I mean, the XFL was staying at that hotel. There was a Taylor Swift concert at that time. Like there were a lot of things going on in the city at that time that like
there's a lot of people moving in and out and a lot of people not paying attention.
Right. And then let's talk about them sleeping.
We don't know that it didn't happen. And that's the really terrifying part is we don't know that it didn't happen. There were so many kids and so little adults watching them.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hope it didn't happen.
What were you saying
Right.
about the
No,
sleeping?
the kids at like 2 a.m. sleeping in the lobby.
Oh, yeah, sleeping
their
on
parent-
the
'cause their-
couches
'cause
or
their
the
parents
chairs
were,
because
like,
their parents
still
are hanging out. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that was definitely, and of course, that was no fault of Mark and Will, but that was one of
No,
the
not at all.
not
Yeah.
favorite things
Yeah.
about the conference. Because again, like we left our kids, so we don't want to go. It's
Right.
kind of like leaving your kids and going to an adults only resort.
Yeah.
Like I left my
I'm
kids.
free.
I don't want to see
Yeah.
somebody else's and be annoyed by someone else's because sometimes I don't even like my own, let alone other people.
But the hotel staff was really cool.
They were.
They were really
They were
good.
very accommodating. When you needed everything. My bed this time was way better than the bed scenario in Sacramento, and also my shower worked.
Yes.
In this one too.
Oh,
so
what happened in Sacramento?
So my mattress didn't fit the size of the frame, and so when I sat down on both sides of the bed, you sit down like towards the middle and you'd go straight to the ground because the frame was too large to support it. And then I went to shower before one of my early classes, and the handle would just turn and turn and turn, and the water turn on. So I had to go shower in a vacant room, like get dressed, and then go back to my room and finish getting ready. So yeah,
but then she ended up.
I don't like that at all.
No, and it was then that like I was like, okay, I think I want a new room now. And then they moved me, and then they told me, I was like, oh, do you have anything on whatever floor she was on? I was like, do you have anything on this floor, which Heather was on? And it was right across the hall. So it was like, it was perfect. So it was meant to be. I had to go through, the rough room to find the room that was right across the hall from Heather. So yeah, I mean, it was amazing, and I can't wait to do it again. But let's talk about
it was fun.
What else we have in common, and that's podcasting. Like we don't have like a lot of podcasting friends. I have like one.
We don't either. We have like literally it's just the people in this show and the people in this show, and we're friends, and we don't know anybody else.
Right. Yeah.
When I came back and I was like, oh, you guys, guess what I found us? I found us friends.
We have friends.
We have friends who do what we do, and they know things.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of know things.
I don't know. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly. We fake it till we make it. We know something. But yeah. And again, we're self-taught as far as podcasting goes. Yeah. So like he would just like research and he'd be like, I think this is a good host. So then we try that one, and then we'd switch, and then we're like, oh, maybe we should have done this one in the beginning. Like we've even like, we don't really have the platform for it, at least not yet, but we've considered doing like a podcast mini course, just to like share all of the things that we learned along the way, that, cause again, you're just kind of winging it for the longest time. But yeah, so tell us about your podcast.
So these are more things that I had no idea what to do until I was doing them.
Yeah.
And it was just, I have one called The Morning Report, MOURN, like we're sad, we're in mourning. And that one I started, it's almost 2 years old. Halloween, it will be 2 years old.
Nice.
And we just talk about creepy shit, cryptids, true crime, myths, legends, cool space stuff, like anything that kind of fits that like dark, weird, a little bit spooky part of being alive. Yeah. That's what The Morning Report is. And then the other one is a Star Wars podcast, and that's called The Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha. It is almost 6 months old, but not quite yet. And that one it's exactly what it's just Star Wars. We just talk about Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then I liked how you tell us about the mascot, I guess.
Oh, Bonnie. Give me 1 second. I have her.
Go get her.
She was all over, like when, like after the classes were over, she would go upstairs and she would come down with it. And I saw it. I'm like, I wonder what that was. And then we started talking to her, and she told us about the mascot, and that's how.
There she is.
There it is. Oh,
this is Bonnie.
Well, the funny thing is, everyone could get her
to make that noise, and I squeezed the crap out of her, and I couldn't get it to. It was not working for me.
They're in her
Oh,
feet. So
they told me to squeeze her.
When you squeeze her, she has a heartbeat.
Oh, see, that
you got to squeeze her really hard, but then she has a heartbeat. Nice. This is the mascot for the Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha. This is literally Bonnie, our traveling Bantha.
So
she goes with us on vacations. A Bantha is a Star Wars creature.
Okay,
yeah, it's a Star Wars creature.
About Star Wars.
They are.
I know a little bit about Star Wars.
Do you know what a Bantha is?
I seen it in there, but I didn't know what they were called.
They're sand creatures. They're built for like the Tuscans. Do you know who the Tuscans are? They're the ones with like the full mask and they have the sticks.
Yep.
Okay, those are Tuscans, and the Banthas tend to be partnered up with a Tuscan. Like they mate for life, and their mates often correspond with their handlers. So like this handler will marry this handler, and their Banthas are mated. So they're like their service animals and companions.
Yeah. Nice.
Arranged marriages.
Arranged marriages,
yeah. And they get fed to crate dragons to keep them from eating the people of the desert. So they're also crunchy, tasty snacks.
That helps. Yeah, I'm more of the earlier Star Wars, because I mean I grew up watching those all the time when they were on TV, and then the prequels came out. But then that's as far as I go. Because after that, there's a whole other.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
There is.
You have to be like, you have to be fully invested, and that's why I think I've watched a couple of them, and then I was like, wait, but who's that? Why are they fighting? Like what? And they're like, oh, because in this movie this happened, and I was like, I can't keep up anymore. Like I watched, and there's too many relationships and like circular things that tied back, and I couldn't.
Yeah, the whole world.
It was and then as soon as I'd like watch another one, then they come out with like two more before I watch, and I'm like, I'm never going to catch up. It was not. Yeah,
that's fair. I get it. Yeah. I've been immersed in Star Wars land since I was like, I mean, I think as far as nerd stuff, it was Halloween, and then like Lord of the Rings, like high fantasy, and then Star Wars immediately, and that's history.
The rest is history.
Yeah, no, I never got into like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter.
Yeah,
I didn't get into any of that. But like Star Wars, I was like loosely into.
Yeah.
I love it.
She makes people happy. Like everywhere I go.
Listen, he was telling us, when you went to go get her, that every time in between, some chill, you'd bring her down. Yeah, you'd bring her down and like start taking pictures, and the laser, I think she was, and I don't know where else.
That was all Emily. So there's a story, and this cracks me up, and I think you guys will be able to picture it happening. So I'm downstairs with Bonnie, and I took her because I wanted to get a picture with the Lens Digital guys. I want to get a picture of her with Len and Stan because they've helped me so much trying to get our stuff going.
Right. Yeah.
We're having so much trouble with like just getting our rotary working.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want a picture with you guys. You've been incredible. Well, Emily is down there and she watches Stan just melt. He gets Bonnie and he just melts on her. And Emily's like, what? I want a picture. What is this? So cute.
Yeah.
And she gets called away to go help somebody. And I was like, I'll find you before you leave. I'll let you, I'll bring her to you. Well, it's the last day. And I'm walking above the atrium, like where you can look down over. Yeah. So I'm walking along there and I'm heading back into Little Bear, our storage room, to get a swag bag for somebody who didn't get one. And I hear somebody, top of their lungs, screaming my name across the atrium. And I'm deaf in my right ear, 100%. I don't have directional hearing.
Right.
So I'm spinning in circles, looking for whoever is screaming my name. And I just happened to catch Krystal as this is happening. And it's Emily. And she's screaming my name and waving her arms. And I look at her. I finally catch her. And she goes, "Where's the Banshee?"
The Banshee? She would. Oh, my God. That's so Emily.
And I was like, first off, I know what a Banshee is. So immediately I'm like, I don't know how to put that fire out.
Right? Like,
we have a problem. I don't know how to fix. And then she's like, I want it. The little. And I was like, you want Bonnie? So we bring her Bonnie just as she is like sneaking out the door. I bring her Bonnie and she gets her picture and she's like, has she been in the laser yet? No. She was like, well, she's about to be.
Yeah.
So that's when she goes to the laser and she collected people and Bonnie got to be in the laser.
Well, the funny part is I would see, what is it called again? Now I want to call it a banshee.
A bantha.
So I'd see it out of the corner of my eye, and like it kind of looks, it's a lot smaller, but it kind of looks like Emily's dog.
Oh yeah,
It does.
And so I would see it out of the corner of my eye, and I'd be like, who has a dog here? And Justin had his service dog, and we got to give a shout out to Apollo.
Hi, Apollo.
Justin and Beverly, who brought Apollo.
Yeah, he was the second mascot. I think he was the mascot of the conference.
He was everyone's favorite. He was so sweet and so cute, and just he was awesome.
I love him
too.
Yes,
because I'm sure a few people had people have their conceptions of pit bulls.
Yeah,
so I'm glad that he was like so chill.
Oh, he was so cute.
He was so like he would walk up to you to get petted.
He'd like want to, and Justin, he would just be in conversation, would kind of like correct him when he'd see him like trying to go talk to somebody or sniff somebody or whatever, and then it'd be someone who's like against the service dog rules, kind of like asking for it. Yeah. And so, again, Justin kind of gave us permission, but it's like, I'd see him and it'd be like, hi, Apollo. And he'd be like Justin would be in mid conversation, like trying to correct him. Like, no, it's okay. Give me it.
Same. Like I caught him in an elevator and was just like, is there ever a time that he's not working that I can pet him? And he was like, right now. And I was on the floor in seconds. On the floor, he's like on my face giving me kisses, and I was just like,
and it was so funny,
my dog so much.
Right. We'd see Justin without Apollo here and there.
Right.
And we'd be like,
Where's Apollo?
Right. Why did you bother coming if you didn't bring Apollo?
Right. He's like, right. Like, I mean, you guys are a package deal now. You kind of can't come without him. And so he'd be like, man, he was tired. They're like from, sleeping in classes all day. He's exhausted. And, he does have to work and kind of like probably be on guard. And I'm sure that is exhausting. Right. But yeah, it was funny because he was like, they were like leaving the room and they're like, come on, Apollo. And he was like, nah. He's like, I'm tired, bro. I'm good. You guys can go. I'm not going to go. You can go, but I'm going to stay here. I'm gonna stay here. I'm like, I get it, Apollo. I understand. People and stuff.
I love it.
It's tough long being, days. Especially him. Right? Like he was the freaking like celebrity of like, you want to talk about laser celebrity?
Yeah.
Like Apollo was
quickly became
the celebrity. Yeah. So he was getting a lot of attention,
trading cards and everything.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, I got a card.
Heather was so mad that she didn't get a card.
Yeah.
She gave Apollo so much love and she didn't get a card.
Oh.
And she
Justin fixed that.
Demanded one, right?
Fix it.
Like we gotta fix this now. I need me an Apollo. I
made an Apollo name badge. We gave him a name badge. So he had his little official.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, we covered most things, right?
Yeah. I think that's it.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
Sure
so
we missed stuff, but...
I mean, again, thank you for last minute jumping in.
Oh yeah.
Heather, again, I reminded Heather Thursday morning, Thursday, like late morning. And I was like, hey, reminder, you're on the podcast tomorrow. And we talked about it at the conference. Like we've talked about it a few times.
And I told her
she
last
actually
week.
Even, I think, bullied me and was like, I'm on the week after the conference, right? So we can like talk about it. I'm like, yeah. So I sent her the reminder on Thursday and she's like, shit.
Oh no.
And I was like, I didn't even read much more than that. And I was like, fuck.
I didn't even let her, if you watched last week's episode, I didn't even let her on because I'm like, you're going to be on
next week. Yeah.
Because she wanted to come and sit on the panel. I'm like, no, you're going to be on next week.
Yeah.
No one wants back-to-back, Heather.
You definitely don't. Yeah, so she was like, oh shit, like I gotta work at the warehouse because she works at Eon now and they all take her time. And then she was like, oh, my I think her cousin and godson were in town, so she was going to be spending time with them at night, so we couldn't do it at night either. And I was like, I go, okay, who the heck am I going to get on that we can talk about the conference, and
we can do it last minute too.
And I was like, I wonder if Krystal's available, because I mean, again, you were just so awesome. Like we vibed with you really well.
Well, and
you're
also,
always like a great time.
And people who went to the conference, they saw you at one point or another running around.
Yeah. Totally.
So yeah.
And then she was like, yes. And I was like, yay. And then I asked Mark, and I was like, oh, we could have Mark and Krystal. And he told me no.
No.
I'm just kidding. Right.
In Mark's defense, Mark is doing stuff with his mom.
I know. And he's going camping later. It's fine.
Yeah, with his family. So yeah.
It's okay.
He didn't want to. You notice his cameos in the beginning. That was
right.
Like, hey.
Yeah.
But
he would have absolutely been here if he could have.
Oh, totally. Yeah. We should have. Yeah. We'll have to make sure to plan that, next time. Kind of just have maybe a crew of people involved to just talk about everything after the fact. Because it was great.
Yeah, it was great. Well, thanks for coming on. And we'll be right back with our life update.
Well, first, make sure to follow her.
Yes.
On those two podcasts
the morning news, and that's morning sad.
Yeah.
And is it Sisterhood of Traveling? No.
It's the Morning Report and the Sisterhood of the Travel and Bantha. Travel and Bantha is our handle everywhere.
Traveling Bantha.
Cool.
Yeah. So be sure to follow them. I follow them. As soon as you told me, I subscribed right then and there.
We did the same.
Because I knew I would forget.
Right.
And I didn't want to not follow you guys.
For sure.
So we'll be right back with our life update. And we're back with another special guest. Hi, buddy.
Hi, baby.
He woke up from his nap. This is Jackson, everybody. You guys met JR. This is the laugh at the end of the show.
He's much bigger now.
Yep.
Oh, you're being shy.
Yeah.
Don't talk to you? He just woke up from his nap, so he's
a little tired.
Yeah.
So,
we're gonna sneak this in at the beginning somewhere. But wanted to make sure to mention our patrons. And I believe we have, I think just one new looking at their lifetime amounts. So the one newbie is Katie Mullinax. Sorry if I butchered that. But Katie, welcome, Katie.
Welcome.
Thank you. And then I'm going to speed read the rest of them. So we have Melissa, Camille, Lisa, Kelly, Catherine, Kelly again, David, Brittany, Alexander, Stephanie, Barbie, Madison, Danny, Emily, Amanda, Mark, Kathy, MJ, Ryan, and Will. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys
so much for the support. This reminds me, I need to send email again. Yes, I do need to send that file, the April file. I sent the March one. But I need to send an email to Heather at both of her jobs with Lens Digital and Eon. Make sure to remind them to give us a script so that we can get them an ad weekly on the show because they paid for it. Yep. So life updates. One, let's give a huge shout out to my sister,
Angie,
because the reason we were able to go and to leave and
the reason I was able to go.
Well, the reason we were able to experience it together was the fact that she was crazy enough to say yes to watch the boys for 5 days by herself. Yeah. So I just can't. We owe her huge
and she did a great job.
She killed it. She
made it to where I mean, at no point were we worried.
Not at all.
Or I mean,
they didn't even call us at all.
They didn't want to call. Yeah, JR didn't want to call.
We called once. Yeah. And Hey, baby. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Mad at me. Don't
talk to him.
Apparently.
Don't talk to him until his afternoon snack.
Right. Yeah. Until he's had the snack. Mm-hmm. So it's funny that we said in between we shared with Krystal, but the reception that we got with the boys. When we got home. Right. So Jackson was already sleeping because he's quite cranky if you keep him up past even he starts getting cranky and you look at the time and you're like, oh, it's 7:00.
Yeah, it's bedtime.
You're lucky if it's 7:06 and that's when he becomes cranky. Oh, so we didn't see him that night, but JR saw you still. He was brushing his teeth to get ready for bed.
Oh yeah.
Still had the water in his mouth that he didn't spit out because he came and he monkey hugged you, ran and jumped and gave you a big old hug, and then he came to give me a hug and kiss, and I saw he had water in his mouth. I was like, what is in your mouth? I'm like, go spit that out and then come give me a hug and kiss. And again, normally Jackson is like attached to you. He wants like no parts of me when you're home. So when I saw him Tuesday morning, he gave you the opposite of what you expected. You walked in there and he was like, cool. Hey, where you been, bro? Like, didn't even. And then when you brought him into the room, into the bedroom where I was like, hey, baby. And he like leapt to me on the bed and like gave me like a big old hug and like had me in like a headlock until you came back with his milk. And that was great because normally, I'm chopped liver when you're around.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, our life update this week is all the conference,
man.
So.
Yeah. We're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we're still not really.
If you talk to us while we
talked
there,
about it a little bit.
We might have talked to you about it. But publicly, still under wraps.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project.
Okay. All
right.
No,
you have more?
No, I didn't know we were.
Yeah,
ending, so
that's it. Yeah. We don't have anything else.
Just wish us like
positive
send
vibes.
us all the positive vibes and good juju.
Yes.
And again, we're trying to do a lot, in the background. So
and it's what we're planning to do is a little scary. So
yeah. Oh, and if you've even listened this long, I probably should have said it in the beginning. I finally set up the wait list for my LED course. So if you need that, let me know. I'll send it to you. But I'm gonna, start getting work really done on that. So let's go feed the gremlins.
He's getting Nancy here.
Yep.
So it's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project. Krystal and John.
Bye.
Mamie, we're all done.